Test. Welcome to WFM Radio. This is In Between Pieces, brought to you by Writings from Michael, where I discuss entrepreneurship from the lens of an artist and business mindset. This conversation is made with love and joy for your mission, your purpose, your calling, and your journey. Welcome with love. Peace. All right, so we are back. My man Junior had a baby, man. Shout out to my man Junior, bro. You had a young king. Can I get a smile, man? He's shy, man. He had a young kid, man. That's 2 kids in the family, man. So we're just expanding the family. It's very on point because we're talking about generational wealth today, and we're going to just talk about these topics, man. By the way, if you haven't known already, subscribe, like, comment down below. Please do that so we can keep on growing this whole entire environment. This is WFM Radio In Between Pieces. I'm your host, Michael G. Simpson. And I had watched a documentary a couple weeks ago, man. Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal and Greed. Now, if you haven't known already, if you're an artist, entrepreneur, teacher, educator, wherever you are, this documentary is very revealing. And now it doesn't show any insight of Bob Ross diminishing his character, so nothing like that. And I'm kind of glad because there's so many heroes of ours that are just falling from the wayside. But this documentary really exposes just the business side of Bob Ross, Inc., right? And Bob Ross, Inc. is not Bob Ross, right? If you haven't known already, there's a family called the Kowalskis, right? The Kowalskis, I guess during Bob Ross's upcoming, after Bob Ross came from the military, he got into the educational space of art, and they decided to do a show on Bob Ross, all right? He paints the most magnificent paintings you might ever seen on nature, and it looks like he almost took a picture of it and just plastered it to the canvas, and then generally, like, some of the most greatest work I have seen. I mean, you see the guy with the fro, hence my fro, the fro glow. But Bob Ross is truly a gifted person, man. And it really is sad to see a documentary like this expose the business side. Now, I'm not saying his business in particular, right? Now, it's not saying his business. I'm saying the business behind Bob Ross, Inc. Bob Ross, Inc. is owned by the Kowalskis, right? The Kowalskis are this family that financially backed Bob Ross to have this show. And when he died of cancer, rest in peace to this beautiful soul, they enticed him, forced him to sign his name away to them, right? When you build something, a business, whether it's real estate, whether it's an entrepreneur business, whether it's a service, whatever business it is, I believe at the core, the true goal, or one of the true aims and goals for a business, right, is to pass it down, right? The same way we see these brands and companies, right? And I mean like Heinz Ketchup, Walmart, right? McDonald's, right? This is generational. This is not a 5-10 year business. This is generational wealth they're building. Bob Ross is a generational wealth brand. And I know a lot of folks don't like to see themselves as brands, artists particularly. They want to be artists. But in reality, in 2021, we are brands, right? The first thing we should do is trademark our name and make sure our business on the back end correlates to the front end, right? Because if the back end is sturdy, I know the front end is a lot more seamless to paint, to flow, to go, and to do more business transactions that are transformational. So back to this whole entire documentary, man, just, small story short, without going too long on expansion, explaining this is, when Bob Ross passed away, like I said before, the Kowalskis made him sign his name over, right? I think originally Steve, his son, had it. And through litigation, they lost the name, right? They lost the rights to Bob Ross, so they couldn't use the name. Even the son tried to do and put products in place to do paintbrushes and stuff. He couldn't use his own name, right? Through litigation, they took everything away by being sued. This is horrible. I mean, how do you help build something, right? Now, whether the Kowalskis helped financially back Bob Ross, right, which is a true fact, I think there should be some type of compassion, empathy to people whom you're doing business with. Let them have some generational wealth too. I mean, you can't use the name Bob Ross Inc. on a publication, then Bob Ross Inc.'s family doesn't have any type of say-so of what goes on now. And I give you a little story just to kind of correlate this to it, right? I go to my local art store, which is Blick Art Supply. Shout out to Blick. This is not to vilify them at all. I love Blick Art Supplies. But I go in the store, and I do see Bob Ross memorabilia. And this is months ago before this documentary showed up. But it's just always interesting to me to see deceased people have so much product in the stores, and it's like it sits a little bit uneasy in my stomach as an artist and entrepreneur, really, because I think who is making the money off this product, right? You got to think, if you see product, there's someone behind the product, not the person, because the person is no longer alive, right? Respectively. And I asked the young lady behind the desk, does Bob Ross like own this stuff? And she didn't really have a clear answer. And she probably didn't have a clear answer. She didn't know, right? She honestly didn't know. But something, I left that day just with the question in my head and just like, man, you see paintbrushes, paint, chia pets. I'm seeing all this product, like literally all this product from Bob Ross, paper, mache, handsets. I mean, just everything. Everything you could think of is a product that he has. And come to find out when this documentary enters the space of Netflix, man, shout out to Netflix just giving so much light on this topic. Bob Ross Inc. is owned by the Kowalskis, who helped him put this publication together and helped him brand together, I guess, too, as well. But none of the family owns Bob Ross Inc. And when we talk about generational wealth, when we talk about legacy, this is why, right? This is why we do it. I mean, we do it to pass it down to our kids' kids, and help our family get in position too as well, man. This is about building something that is so substantial that when you go to your local Walmart, we can build that too. So for him to be 20 years, 30 years down the line, right, future passes, and still zip, not $1 has entered their bank accounts for all this product that we see in the space today, whether it's Blick, whether it's any art supplies across the country, they own none of it. And this needs to be exposed, man. That needs to be exposed because you can't have a business in sight, man, and someone not making any financial gain off it, man, monetarily, man. Like, it's not about money all the time, but sheesh, man, it's about money in the situation of doing something for so long and they can't reap the rewards of what they've been putting the work in, right? What's the point? What is the point? And just to be backing on the generational wealth topic, I mean, generational wealth comes down to what we do every day. I mean, this show right here, we try and build generational wealth. Junior behind the can, building generational wealth. I mean, we want businesses. That's what entrepreneurship is, right? Every business we eat from, like I said, McDonald's, Burger King, all these mainstream businesses has generational wealth, man. They can go years without making money and still have it, right? So to see the Bob Ross situation tank like that, that's sad. And I think it's a learning point, though, for us young folk, because I feel social media in this aspect would be a great thing. If Bob Ross had a social media account back in the day where they were able to, hone their community around and hone this topic that, yo, look, what's going on right now with some shady biz. I need help. I can bet 9 times out of 10 the community around him already would form and advocate for that, right? This is the era of everybody eating, man. Like, no one should have to struggle to get a meal. So the fact that the son has to struggle for something that Bob Ross has already put the work in, to me is baloney. To me, is truly baloney. And it's to this day that the Kowalskis are 80 plus, 90 plus years old. It's like, damn, you mean to tell me that you can get so old and you can't cut the man a check? I mean, cut the man a check. I mean, sheesh. I mean, 5, 10, 20,000. I mean, anything would do. I mean, anything would subdue in this moment. But it goes to show you, if we can have our business, right, our back end intact, the front end is so much easier to just flow and go. And so we want to pass it off to our sons and just pass off the branch. We're able to, man. And it's no problems. It's no problems, man. There's so many estates that got passed on to the younger individuals where now they can flourish. And now they can grow upon what is already given to them already, right? Trust fund babies. I'm not a trust fund baby, but I want to create some trust fund babies, right? I want to create some trust fund babies. So that's all I'm saying, man. This topic and this whole entire documentary really let me see just the insight of how evil business can be. And even having these big publications, if there's a financial backer, we got to make sure we have our business intact. But this is just giving you some insight on this documentary. I mean, if you guys should watch it yourself, the way I perceived it as is just make sure we're rooted, stay independent long as we can. And if we do get in a position to get partnerships, I'm fine with a JV. I'm fine with a joint venture. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to make sense. It has to be equal balance, not when you are gone and you pass it off to the person give it to you. That is unfair. That is truly blasphemy. So I'm going to end off with that, man. Let's make sure we build a generational wealth, because if you're listening to this, I'm pretty sure you are building generational wealth. You are building something that's going to be bigger than you and enough to give your family. This is creating the next McDonald's. Besides going to be healthy this time, though. All right, so I want to make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment on this video. Subscribe, like, comment on the podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, and we just entered the Apple Amazon race too as well. So we are on that. Subscribe to as well. But until next time, guys, much love. Keep on building that generational wealth. Till next time, this is WFM Radio, In Between Pieces. I'm your host, Michael G. Simpson. Love, peace. And you just listened to WFM Radio, In Between Pieces. Please like, subscribe, download, and spread this conversation with love and joy. Keep going on your mission, your purpose, your calling, and your journey. Much love. Peace.